The sky was heavy with gray clouds that morning, casting long shadows across the schoolyard. The kind of day where even laughter feels muted, where the air carries a weight that most ignore, but not Valentina Shevchenko. She felt it deep inside. It wasn't the weather pressing down on her heart. It was something heavier. Something that had followed her for months. Valentina sat alone on the wooden bench near the basketball court, her backpack clutched tight to her chest, her eyes fixed on the cracks in the pavement. Children ran past her, chasing after each other with shrieks of joy, their sneakers squeaking against the wet ground. To them, the day was ordinary. But for Valentina, ordinary no longer existed. Every step she took on campus came with the dread of what was waiting for her. You see, Valentina wasn't weak. She wasn't fragile. She wasn't the shy girl everyone thought she was. In truth, she was stronger than even she realized. At home, her life was disciplined, structured, filled with early mornings of martial arts practice before dawn. Her mother had raised her on principles of respect, patience, and resilience. The greatest battles, her mother always told her, are the ones fought inside, between your anger and your peace. But at school, none of that seemed to matter. All they saw was a girl who kept to herself. A girl who rarely spoke. A girl who walked with her head slightly lowered, as though trying to disappear into the crowd. And to the bullies, that made her the perfect target. The bullies. There were 4 of them, 3 boys and 1 girl. Together, they formed a cruel little pack, feeding off one another's laughter and daring one another to push the limits of meanness. Jason, the tallest, was their leader. Loud, brash, always desperate for attention. He came from a broken home, but instead of finding healing, he found control in making others feel small. Mark, his shadow, was less confident, but laughed the loudest whenever Jason humiliated someone. He was the kind who bullied not out of cruelty but out of fear of being the next target. Ryan, the smallest, was the troublemaker. What he lacked in size, he made up for with a sharp tongue, always ready with a cutting insult. And then there was Amber, a girl with a cruel smirk who often instigated the torment with whispers and rumors. She enjoyed watching others squirm under her words. To them, Valentina was entertainment. It started small, books knocked off her desk, whispered insults as she passed by, mocking the way she spoke. But as weeks turned into months, it became relentless. Rumors about her family spread. Lunch trays accidentally spilled on her. Lockers slammed shut just as she tried to reach inside. Valentina endured it all with silence. Her classmates noticed but looked away. Nobody wanted to risk becoming the next victim. One rainy afternoon, when the hall smelled of wet coats and muddy shoes, Valentina felt her patience slipping. She was gathering her things at the end of class when Jason blocked her path. "Were you running off to, silent girl?" he smirked. Mark and Ryan flanked him, while Amber leaned casually against the wall, arms crossed, watching. Valentina didn't answer. She adjusted her bag on her shoulder and tried to step around him. Jason shoved her lightly back. No. We're talking to you." Ryan snickered. "Yeah, maybe she lost her voice. Maybe she's a mute." Mark chimed in, "Or maybe she thinks she's better than us." Valentina swallowed hard, keeping her composure. She bent down to pick up the notebook Jason knocked from her hands. But as she did, Ryan noticed something fall out of her bag, a small silver pendant on a thin chain. He picked it up, dangling it mockingly. "What's this? Your little good luck charm? Looks cheap." Valentina froze. That pendant wasn't just jewelry. It was her grandmother's gift, something sacred, something tied to her family's roots. "Give it back," she said, her voice steady but quiet. Jason grinned. "Or what?" And with a cruel laugh, he dropped it on the floor and pressed his shoe against it. Something inside Valentina shifted. For months she had endured, staying silent, choosing peace. But this was different. This wasn't just about her. This was about respect, about dignity, about everything she had been taught. Her body straightened. Her eyes, usually soft and distant, locked with Jason's. For the first time, her voice cut through the hallway like steel. "Pick it up." The unleashing. The bullies laughed. They thought it was still a game. Jason reached down to crush the pendant under his foot. But before his shoe could press harder, Valentina moved. Years of training surged through her body, not with anger, but with precision. In a blink, she sidestepped Jason's attempt to block her and grabbed his wrist, twisting it with just enough pressure to make him yelp. His knee buckled, and he dropped to the floor. Mark lunged forward, but Valentina's stance shifted. Calm, controlled, unshakable. She redirected his momentum, guiding him into the wall with a thud that knocked the air out of him. Ryan tried to charge from behind, but Valentina spun, her foot sweeping just close enough to trip him, sending him sprawling onto the floor. Amber froze, her smirk gone. She tried to shove Valentina, but her shove met a wall of discipline. Valentina blocked effortlessly, then stepped back, her gaze steady and unwavering. In seconds, the bullies were on the ground, wide-eyed, trembling. The hallway echoed with their gasps and whimpers. "Please, don't hurt us," Jason stammered. Valentina bent down, picked up her pendant, and slipped it back into her pocket. Her voice was calm, almost gentle. There was something in her tone and edge of truth, of lived experience, that made them hesitate. They left that night, but Emily knew their pride wouldn't let them stop so easily. Sure enough, the final confrontation came days later. This time, they returned with more anger, determined to prove themselves. They tried breaking into her barn, kicking at the doors. But Emily was ready. She stepped out, holding nothing but a flashlight and her unwavering presence. In the darkness, she shone the beam directly into their eyes, disorienting them. With calm precision, she called out each of their names. They froze. "How do you know us?" one of them stammered. Emily lowered the light, her expression sharp. "I know more than you think. I've spent years studying men tougher than you, stronger than you, more dangerous than you. And I survived them all. You boys? You don't scare me. But you are scaring my daughter. And that is something I will never allow." The quiet authority in her words broke through their bravado. For the first time, they saw not a quiet single mother, but a woman forged in fire, a protector who would go to any length to defend her home. Slowly, one by one, they backed away. The sheriff came by the next morning, having heard whispers of the incident. "I don't know what you told those boys," he said, "but they don't want anything to do with your farm anymore." Emily only smiled faintly. "Good. Maybe they'll learn to respect what they don't understand." Life on the farm settled back into peace. Lily played in the fields again, laughter returning to her days. Emily returned to her quiet rhythm, her past once again tucked safely away. But in her heart, she knew one truth had been made clear: strength doesn't always roar. Sometimes, it's the quiet resolve of a mother protecting her child, the calm courage to face darkness without fear. And for those who tried to break her? They learned a lesson they would never forget. You never underestimate the quiet ones. Final message for narration. If you felt inspired by Emily's courage, remember this: true strength isn't about violence or revenge, it's about protecting what matters most, standing firm in the face of fear, and choosing love over hate. Never underestimate the power of quiet strength. Friends, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What would you have done if you were in Emily's place? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if this story touched your heart, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Be kind always for more inspiring stories like this one. Together, let's spread courage, kindness, and hope.